Hello folks, Bob C-Gar coming to you from my studio in Springfield, Oregon, which is, yes, lawn chair in front of my garage. Well, I'd like to say happy Father's Day to all you mothers, I mean fathers, and went out to the car show today. It was great, saw some really nice hot rods. That's mine, wasn't in the show, but anyway, I want to talk a little bit about what's gone on in the last couple of days. The 250-year celebration parade for the Army. When Trump was talking about that and wanting to do that, I thought maybe it'd be a little cheesy, but I really thought it was patriotic. I thought it was really good, and I have to say, I think it was a good idea. I think it was positive. I think it was received positively, and I think it was done positively, and I thought it was good. As far as the No Kings protests, I drove over to Eugene just to kind of see, I really was expecting to be like 12 people, and it hadn't started yet, but traffic was backed up. And there were a lot of people going there, so I never got there, so I don't know, but I would assume that they probably had a couple hundred people there, maybe more. So that's good for them. I think protest is part of America. Just be peaceful about it. Don't be stupid about it. And I think the police are doing an excellent job. They're maybe a little more tolerant than I would be, but I think they're being tolerant, and I think they're also being decisive, and they're moving when it's time to move, and they're backing off when it's time to back off. Far as how everything else is moving, I think the economy's moving good. I think that Israel, I don't blame them. I think it's a little suspect as far as how quickly they needed to move, but it's been talked about for years that, Iran is getting close, they're getting close, they're getting close. And I think that, Israel had enough, and I think probably the whole October 7th really put things into motion, and I think they just said, look, we're going to pick a time and we're going to go, and they're not going to see it coming. I don't think they could have imagined in their wildest dreams how successful they were going to be. It's kind of like bin Laden. I don't think he in his wildest dreams imagined how successful 2000, what was that, 9/11, September 11, 2001, I think. But I don't think he had any idea how successful 9/11 would be. But yeah, he was very successful in that. I also think that the Democrats are increasingly trying to tie immigration and immigration together. And they refuse to make that distinction. I think the more they do that, I think the more important it is for the conservatives to make sure that there's a big difference. We love immigrants, but we don't want illegal immigrants. I'm bouncing around a little today. Back to the car show. My childhood friend, he got first place with his truck, which I thought was pretty cool. And saw him out there. Saw some other friends of ours who had two cars in it. And there's some really, really cool hot rods around this area. Anyway, I wanted to say that keep your chin up, and I think the big beautiful bill is going to pass. I think it's moving along, and I think there's a good chance it's going to get signed on the 4th of July. I know things like that are important to Trump. I know that a lot of people talked about how he was saluting all of the soldiers, even though he didn't need to, he didn't have to. And I think he has a tremendous amount of respect for the soldiers. I know people say that he made the losers and whatever comment. However, 17 people that were there said he didn't, and one person that was there said he did. So you tell me. His actions don't show that. His actions show that he has a tremendous amount of respect for our military, and I think he does. Could he have shot his mouth off trying to be funny or something at the wrong time? Maybe. He does shoot from the hip, but he certainly wouldn't have meant something like that. He wouldn't have said that. He didn't mean it. If he said it, he didn't mean it. But I do know that anything he says, the media, Democrats are really quick to define it the way they want it defined, and not necessarily in the way that it was meant or interpreted. And I'm not saying the guy does everything right. He fumbles around. But if you look at big picture like I do, he's getting the job done. I think it was probably good that he's backed off of maybe some of the illegal immigrants, the sharecroppers, and the cooks and that kind of stuff. Yeah, maybe so. But what I think we need to do is don't back off to the extent, maybe you don't deport them immediately, but you definitely flag them. You want to give them a temporary, green card or whatever, do that. But I think if they don't follow through with their end of the piece of the puzzle, send them out. We have people all the time, and robots are going to be replacing a lot of the menial kind of work. I mean, I think we all see that coming. So anyway, I'm for compassion. I don't think that it should be a cold-hearted, terrible thing. But I also am for, it's not Trump's fault that the people before him haven't enforced the law. And the law is the law, and I think it's time to enforce it. Are there people that maybe they should look at streamlining or giving them a process or whatever that could help them? Maybe they go back, and 2 years later they come back and start the process. I don't know. I don't know how you do that. It's not going to be easy. However you do it, you're going to offend a lot of people. But I think if you get them off of Medicaid, if you get them off of, all of the health care, all of the welfare, financial services, all of that. And I know people, Democrats, say, oh, they don't get that. They don't get that. They can't have that. Yeah, they can. They're getting it. And they're also, they got, a lot of them have Social Security cards. They have them. Now, did they get them legally? No, they couldn't have, but they got them. And so I think it's time to, get to the bottom of those things, get to these NGOs that are funding all this stuff, and shut it all down and get back to square one. I think Trump's done a fantastic job of sealing up the border, but I also think he needs to continue that, finish the wall, get all the technology that you need, get all that stuff, because they're not going to stop trying. And when I say them, I'm talking about, the cartels, the people with bad intentions, I feel for these illegal immigrants that have made it across, who have paid, gave their life savings to get a wristband, but, make this travel. I feel for them. But somebody needs to tell them that's not going to work. It's not going to work, I just want to say these cigars are the best I've ever had. I want to say Happy Father's Day. I guess I did that. Apparently my boys must think Dad's drunk. I got a really nice whiskey decanter with 2 whiskey glasses from one son. Then I got another kit with 2 beautiful whiskey glasses and 2 big steel balls that I guess you freeze them and they keep your whiskey cold. Yeah, just, I mean, really top-notch, top-level stuff, and I really do appreciate it, but maybe I'm giving my boys the wrong impression of me. You know, who knows? Anyway, I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you next week. Bye.